Yeah, no, my name's Andrew Brager, yep. As I think about my faith journey, kind of the model that I would use, the way that I would use to describe it is a movement from simplicity to complexity to some perplexity, and finally to the space of unity. I think my faith tradition that I adopted or sort of took on later in life was very much a black or white, sort of fundamentalist, Calvinist perspective until the COVID-19 pandemic. And COVID-19 really provided me with the space and time that I needed to evaluate my own faith with a critical lens and really consider what it is I believe and why I believe those things. Needless to say, it helped me to see that this black and white understanding that I'd constructed about faith and my approach to the world didn't really fit anymore. The whole thing came crashing down very quickly and found myself in this pretty dramatic experience of doubt and deconstruction, you might say, as well. Take God and we very much put him in this sort of box, this structure. And for me now, that box is burned down. Like that whole religious architecture, mental architecture that I use to map out my life and think about the world, none of that exists anymore. We talk about the Christian faith as modeled after life, death, resurrection, and I definitely went through that sort of death-like experience. A lot of my prior beliefs, the things that I held dear, my assumptions about people and the world, all of that came unraveling. All of it came unraveled, and it was a difficult experience for sure. As I think about sort of reconstructing a new faith, I think there's just two simple principles that have been helpful to me. First is the idea that God is love, simply that God is love. It's a clear statement that we have. And then likewise, the idea that God is like Jesus, that God is love and God is like Jesus. I think those are two simple principles I can use to navigate a new sort of faith. Still a lot of uncertainty, still more questions and doubts than there is hard, firm beliefs, but that's a space that I'm actually now comfortable being in that space, feeling like I don't have all the answers and I don't need all the answers either. I think that dialogue and navigating faith transitions or deconstruction experiences in the context of a faith community is absolutely critical. One of the sad reflections that I have thinking about my own spiritual journey is that my deconstruction experience was very much done in isolation. It was not done in the context of being able to have maybe psychological safety to bring up doubts, to bring up concerns, because the religious traditions that I belong to, your membership in the community is contingent on you believing the right things and believing them hard enough. So grateful for the opportunity to have built some friendships over the last couple years and truly be myself with those individuals and being able to share, this is who I am and this is what I think about God and the nature of things, and there not be judgment or condemnation or othering or anything. A feeling of being threatened by those sorts of perspectives has really helped me grow and help me thrive. And I think that what God wants for me, what God wants for my family is to be authentically ourselves and, being able to have that honesty and that vulnerability to grow in relationship. And that's where I think real spiritual transformation and growth and maturity can really take place. There's still elements of faith and spirituality and an interest in God and in Jesus, like that hasn't left. I'm just not so certain about, kind of over simplistic. And a lot of it, to be fair, is probably just reaction to my own kind of religious baggage, kind of more Calvinistic religious fundamentalism, and realizing that there are different approaches, there are different perspectives that are healthier, that are, more true and beautiful, and I think more in line with the model and lifestyle of Jesus.